My name is Jack Rothfield, and my research presentation has been about researching the rapid growth of social media around today's world. The interaction and active use of social media around the world is arguably the biggest growth around the globe seen to date. Society's dependence of social media cannot be understated, as it is the biggest foundation for profiling, news platforms and influencers around the world. 59% of the world's population are active users on social media platforms. This clearly demonstrates a significant growth of social and digital media outlets in regards to the power it can have on society. The average daily time spent using social media is 2 hours and 29 minutes. So as we can see by these statistics, social media is always growing and plays a big role in today's world. Social media's third spaces, exploring Muslim identity and connection in Tumblr. This is a reading that heavily conveys the representation of societal values in regards to the growth of global social media. It really explores how society has come to terms with the significance of these platforms and the role they play, as well as demonstrating the ethical and moral values that are expected to be used in these networks. Now, how does this growth relate to societal values? The growth of social and digital media platforms around the world has highlighted society's dependence on these networks and platforms. Values refer to the principles that are created and formed by the dynamics of surrounding communities, as well as traditional and new beliefs. The increased use of social media is something the community has embraced. Society sees the development of these networks as advanced sources of communication channels and also a good way of news gathering. Whereas print, TV and radio outlets are still the primary source of news in older age groups, Instagram is now the most popular news source amongst younger people, and TikTok and YouTube follow closely behind. To me, this quote is significant as it reflects on the changing dimensions of news gathering around the world due to the growth of social media and all these networks. Here we have a graph that demonstrates the statistics around the growth of social media per year around the world, and we can see here that in the space of 6 years, the number of active users has grown over 2 billion. This naturalisation of social media amongst younger demographics mean they have a higher degree of trust in the channels, and the channels have also developed to cater to this change in usage, providing informative and educational content to this audience as well as entertainment and inspiration. This quote is significant as social media has become an automatic foundation for communication channels and news platforms. Susiyu reflects on this through demonstrating the young people's trust in these new networks and platforms. However, there is a downside. It is seen as negative from parts of the world today. The increase of these networks is seen by some individuals as something that could eradicate the real from our world. Some parts of the world see it as an exposure to manicured lives and believe it puts pressure on all active users of social media to look good and can cause an addiction in the vulnerable population. This quote is highly significant. People use social media to vent about everything from customer service to politics, but the downside to this is that our feeds often resemble an endless stream of stress. In 2015, researchers at the Pew Research Center based in Washington, D.C. sought to find out if social media induces more stress than it relieves. The Black Lives Matter movement is a great example of how social media can be so powerful. It was an active participation movement that was sparked through social media platforms around the world, demonstrating the significance of social media, even in political matters and during governmental devastation. The social media movement had enough power to enforce sporting organisations, including the English Premier League, NBA, UEFA Champions League, to get involved, as well as internationally established companies. To conclude the presentation, it is highly evident that the growth of social media is something that's going to continue. The power it can play across today's society and the things it allows individuals to do is something that can't be understated.